Welcome to the LiftOneSelf podcast. I'm your host, Nat Nat, and today I have somebody all the way in Lagos, Nigeria. I was on her podcast and she did a tarot reading after our session, and it was so bang on that I asked her, would you do it live again with me so that my listeners can be exposed to your gift? So, again, vulnerability because she's going to read and I'm going to have to expose my personal life out in here.
Mm.
Yet the reason why I'm doing it is because I so believe in her gift and I want to share it with others so that they can tap into what she has to offer. So, Viv, would you be so gracious to introduce yourself to the listeners and a little bit to myself? Because you asked me about me, yet I didn't get to ask you about too much about you.
Okay, thank you for having me on the show. Hi, everyone. My name is Viv. I'm an intuitive tarot reader and astrologer, and I'm also a podcaster. I host my own podcast called Perspective with Viv. And my own message or my own work is around enabling or allowing people to get to know their true selves and their full selves and to express it freely and to share that love with other people.
So, before we do the reading, Viv, would you be willing to do a mindful moment with me so that we can ground ourselves and open up?
Yes, I would.
Okay. So for the listeners, as you always hear, safety first. Please don't close your eyes if you're needing your visuals. Yet with the other prompts, you're able to follow through and take that check-in for yourself. So Viv, I'll ask you to get comfortable in your seating. And if it's safe to do so, you're going to gently close your eyes. And you're going to begin breathing in and out through your nose, bringing your awareness to watching your breath go in and out. Not trying to control your breath, just being aware of its rhythm, allowing it to guide you into the body. There may be some sensations or feelings coming up, and that's okay. Let them come up. You're safe to feel, you're safe to let go. Surrender the need to control, release the need to resist, and just be. Be with your breath, drop deeper into your body, being in the space of being. Now, there may be some thoughts or to-do lists or possibly some memories that have popped up. It's okay. Gently bring your awareness back to your breath, creating space between the awareness and the thoughts, and dropping deeper into the body, being in that space of presence, of stillness. Now, again, more thoughts may have popped up. Gently bring your awareness back to your breath, beginning again, creating even more space between the awareness and the thoughts, and completely surrendering into the body, into now, into being, keeping that awareness on your breaths and opening up. Now, being in your senses at your own time and at your own pace, you're going to gently open your eyes while still staying with your breath. The floor is yours.
Wow, thank you so much for that. That was really, really grounding. So I'm going to start shuffling the cards now.
Mm-hmm.
And just to be clear, would you like a personal reading or a collective reading that encompasses your energy and that of your listeners?
I'm good with either, or if both, whatever you feel called to.
Okay. Whatever comes up, definitely. Okay. So cards have already started falling out.
Yeah,
Mm.
we
I
had
make
that
the
last time.
intention. Yes, we did actually. So I make the intention that the highest truth and all the messages that you all need to hear today is what will come forth. I call upon my ancestors, my angels, my guides, my tarot gatekeeper. Okay, another one. Very good cards. Okay, we're starting with the star. The first card is the star that flew out, clarified by the hermit card. Then we have the tower, clarified by the Ten of Cups. I'll describe the imagery for the listeners. and the overall energy being the Six of Cups in reverse, which is an interesting card to have. So I'm going to pull an extra card to be sure. Okay, interesting. So the first card we have is the star. The star depicts the image of a woman that is in a pond. She has two jugs, one that is pouring water onto the land and one that is pouring water onto herself. There's a huge star above her with other small stars around it. Now, this star card is a card of hope, renewal, restoration. It speaks of wishes and desires being achieved, opportunities coming to you, opportunities coming to you for you to fulfill your purpose, to fulfill a certain need. I talk about restoration and renewal because it's kind of like a level up card. It's a card in which you master manifestation. You are aware of the power that you hold within, and you are aware that you create your reality. So you are in the water submerged, and your hand is pouring water onto the land. You embody the energy of what it is that you want to create in your life. And therefore, you manipulate it by or you manipulate the energy by allowing yourself to express it outwards, meaning that you don't have to go outside to change things, just embody it on the inside and it will change outwards, which is why her hand is outstretched, pouring water onto the land. She doesn't need to do more than that. She just needs to stay in that vibration. So that's what it's about. So speaking freely, when I see the star card, it speaks of any wishes and desires that you or your listeners may have. It's on its way to you. And it's because you finally mastered your state of mind and your emotional environment. Those two things are important for manifestation because a lot of times people rely on hope or get hope from what they see with their physical eyes. And it's not about that. It's about what you see on the inside. And it's about the belief that you have that what you see on the inside will be created on the outside. The card that clarifies the star is a good card. It's the Hermit card, which is funny because the Hermit talks about introspection. This card depicts the image of an old man holding a snake, a lantern, and has a black dog next to it. When we talk about hermit, and we're talking about it clarifying the star, it's speaking of how internally or through introspection, you'll be able to feed the light within you. Once again, there's no need for external influences to sort of influence the way you feel about life or the way you feel about the things that you want to manifest. The hermit is saying that go inwards, go internal, learn more about yourself, seek self mastery, because it is in that self mastery that you'll be able to create the reality that you want for yourself. The hermit has everything it needs. The dog representing intuition, the lantern representing your inner light, which is what would kind of show you the path to where you're meant to go. And the snake represents self mastery. With these three tools or these three qualities, you'll be able to actualize the life that you want for yourself and thus attract people to you, not needing to go outside to get them to be something for you. You being you already and radiating that energy is what will create that reality that you seek for yourself. The next card we have is the Tower card, which depicts the image of a castle being sliced in half and people falling from the tower. The tower is a wonderful card for me, if I'm being honest, because it speaks of drastic changes and transformations in your life that are unexpected, but they are good things. Why? Because they are revealing the things in your life that had a shaky foundation and weren't rooted in truth and authenticity. But because you have the star card, the light that you have within is shining, and that is causing everything around you externally to change and to shift. That is where your power lies. So don't be surprised if you start to experience unexpected changes and unexpected shifts in your life. It's meant to happen to give rise to the life that you want for yourself. We had a full moon in Sagittarius recently. Full moons are all about completions, releases, and culminations. It may be unexpected, but just so that anything that completes itself in your life, it's completing and it's closing because it's not rooted in truth. That's what the tower shows, where things are not rooted in authenticity, where things aren't real enough for the true you, for the real you. So a shift has to occur for you to be aware of the things that are not working in your life, for you to uproot yourself from connections that are not aligned with who you truly are, so that you can rebuild and can have a strong foundation for things that are really aligned with who you truly are. The card that clarifies the tower is the Ten of Cups. So the tower brings some form of dark energy because obviously unexpected shifts are never really welcome. And especially when they're drastic and they're like, so they kind of like have this strong strong hold on people or this strong shock that it strikes to people. When that happens, allow it to happen and allow yourself to gain the wisdom from that tower moment, because what is to come afterwards is the Ten of Cups, which speaks of happy ever after. It speaks of emotional bliss, strong family bonds, building connections that are strong over a lifetime. Actually, it's about taking those steps, simple steps towards building the life that you want for yourself, towards that happy ever after that you want. And it showing up here is saying that it's close by, it's right next to you. You just have to have hope. You have to know that you have the power to create the life that you want for yourself. You have to know that the strength that you have within you is stronger than anything outside of you. That's why using tools like your intuition, self mastery, letting your light guide you. When I say your light, when we allow ourselves to shine, our passion shows us the way. So whatever lights you up is a signal for where you're meant to go. And if you allow your life to be changed or to shift because of this new energy of authenticity that you're calling to yourself, you find yourself attaining happiness, a happy ever after. So know that that is what is at the end of this journey, this Ten of Cups, this huge emotional fulfillment, this bliss that you're going to be feeling, where it's like everything is so aligned. The overall energy was the Six of Cups in reverse. Right now, you may not be your happiest because you're going through a shift, but know that what is to come through all these things that are happening behind the scenes is to allow you to return to your childlike state, is to allow you to return to who you were before life started to try to tear your innocence away from you. Who you were when you were that person was so strong and powerful, and you are returning to that person. So allow life to unfold. Don't attach yourself to outcomes, also things that are happening. Allow yourself to release and surrender. You have a lot of cups here, which means flow with life. Don't try to be controlling or restrictive. Let it unfold in the way it's meant to, because you find yourself where you're meant to be. The card that clarifies the Six of Cups, and the Six of Cups depicts the image of two kids running towards their father, and it's one of the happiest cards in the deck. But it being in reverse means that there's been some form of underlying unhappiness because of possibly a lack of hope, a lack of trust, a lack of awareness of the magic of life, something bigger than you've been used to. And that is why you're experiencing that tower, to open your eyes and widen your perspective and enable you to return to who you were before life tried to wipe away that innocence. So the card that clarifies the Six of Cups is the Emperor, which depicts an emperor on his throne with a ram at its feet. The Emperor is a beautiful card to have. It speaks of being strong in yourself, having a strong foundation in self, being a leader, having a strong identity, being someone that people look up to, being somebody that influences other people. It shows the healing of masculine wounds as well, the healing of father wounds. So you have a strong, healthy masculine within you, as well as a strong, healthy feminine. But you're going to be using that masculine side to create the life that you want, to show up in places where you may have dimmed before, because now you'll be realizing that your light is powerful, and you shining it and expressing it will enable you to attain the life that you want, to attain your desires. So the Emperor showing up here is saying that pretty soon you're going to be experiencing a lot of happiness, and it's because your identity is going to be strong. You're going to be stronger within your identity. You're going to be able to provide and protect for yourself. You're going to have a strong foundation in life. Therefore, you're going to be able to build on top of that. So, yes, the tower may have crashed down, but the throne still remains. And now you're going to take your place on the throne and rule from there. So, what is happening for you is a new cycle in which you'll be on top of things. Trust yourself, have hope, know that you are attaining your desires. Whatever energies that you receive to take steps towards executing your dream, feel free to do that. You're the emperor, so your identity is a powerful tool, is a powerful resource, and the energy that comes from the energy that comes from the emperor is sort of like a creation kind of energy. It's saying that with everything around you falling apart, what stays true is who you truly are. So build on that, build with that, and see what you create from that. That's my reading.
As you can hear, listeners, that many that know my story or have been following, you understand that I've just recently finished writing my manuscript, The Gift Wrapped in Sandpaper and the Untamed Power, and it's with beta readers right now. And it speaks exactly what, the tower explained. Sometimes we get challenges and we don't want them because it's going to require us to either reflect within to see some wounds that create blockages or also grow us. We talk about wanting resilience, we're talking about wanting change and growth. Well, it takes disruption. And again, your reading is bang on about the validation, about standing in my truth, trusting myself. I think that's the biggest thing that all of us continuously have to go through that journey because the world always seduces us in thinking we don't know enough, we're not good enough, and we aren't there. Where really the journey is to go within and really feel that trust within. I want to ask, would you be able to pull a card for the collective just to hear what the theme is with whoever is listening right now that it can touch?
Sure, sure, I can do that. I'll pull one card. Okay, because I was a bit confused when I saw the card that I pulled out, but I'm going to read the two cards here. And just to add, the first reading that I just did was a collective reading. So you may
Mhm.
be, so it's with this reading I'm going to do now, it's just to add on to it. The first card that I pulled out was the Four of Pentacles in reverse, and that confused me a bit. So I said, let me pull a clarifier card, and we got the Tower again.
Oh,
So yeah, that's crazy. So we had the Four of Pentacles. I was confused about the Four of Pentacles because I was like, we're still talking about foundation. When I picked the Emperor is a four card. Four is the number for foundation. So the Four of Pentacles is in reverse, speaking of how it's like now people are being forced to release what it is that they were holding on to before, the things that made them feel grounded, rooted, secure, stable. It's changing. And I feel as though they may have had a very strong hand on it and were forced to let go and release because that thing was actually dead and it was time to allow new life to come through in their life. So the Four of Pentacles for me in reverse is saying that people's foundations are changing. People's foundations are, they're being uprooted to begin again. And that's what's happening. And don't be afraid to let go of those things because holding on is going to be more painful than letting go. That's why the card that clarifies it is a tower. Yes, your life is changing so drastically. Yes, it's looking like something that you've never seen before, you've never experienced before. And things, connections, opportunities that you thought were authentic, were strong, they had a strong foundation, they showed themselves to not be that. But that's okay. Because with all these revelations, trust me when I say that there's going to be things that come to balance things out. There are going to be things that come in to add harmony to your life, to add value to your life. We always think about the loss, but we don't know about, but we don't focus on the fact that the loss creates space for something better to occupy it. And that is the greatest gain because what occupies it will be 10 times better than what was lost. We just have to give it the opportunity to show itself. So, once again, embrace this tower, embrace release, embrace the shift, embrace the changes. Don't hold on to anything, allow yourself to be detached and just let life unfold for you. You will get the nod when it's time for you to act. But whatever is happening that is causing some shift in your life, that's causing you to release, know that it's to restore balance and harmony in your life. All of this is to be restore balance and harmony and to bring about this energy of justice in wherever you've been treated unfairly, wherever you've been betrayed, all of these things are reshuffling in order to give you what it is that you need in terms of your karmic justice. That's what I believe because we have the justice here. So the skills of justice are here. Your luck may change in just the flick of it, the snap of a finger because of these releases that you are allowing. Yes, that's my
yeah.
reading for you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that shows exactly how the world is right now because there's so much chaos and there's so many conflicts and everything else, yet people are still holding on to old belief systems, old systems where it's like, okay, well, what can we release now and move into something new? So, very powerful
Yes,
reading, very, very powerful intuition and intuitive.
thank you.
I want to ask Viv, what brought you on this path? How did you learn? Did you always know you had this intuitive gift or did you come into it?
Okay, very good question. When I was younger, I was highly intuitive, which is why when I pulled the Six of Cups, anytime I pull the Six of Cups, because it's a card of nostalgia, I always think back to how I felt extra magical as a child. So I was highly intuitive as a child and I lost it because obviously, you know how when you grow up, depending on the environment, you feel like you second guess yourself. You're grown to not you grow up to not trust yourself and your instincts. So that was lost. Along the path, I became an artist. I was doing photography, and it was during my photography series or during my process that my intuition spoke to me. So that's where I started to listen and cultivate that relationship. It was only during my photography process that I listened to my intuition. And it was very, very, what's the right word? I'd like to say mystical, even though I could have found another word, but it was very mystical and highly out there that made me feel like, there's something magical about this, let me keep doing it. And after a while, I got to a point in which I shifted from photography to tarot reading, and it came to me in a dream. And at that time, I just started doing dream work. I was having my spiritual awakening, and I was learning a lot. And I started doing dream work, and I had this very vivid dream in which there's a package that came to my door, and I opened the package, and it was a pack of tarot cards, and a voice said, "Use it or get it." And immediately when I woke up, I got tarot cards. And when I went back to London, because at that time I was in Nigeria, when I went back to London and I got my tarot cards, I remember the first day, I just felt like I was being initiated, because for the first 3 days, I was sleeping absurdly early with my cards, and I'd have these dreams in which I see symbols and cards and all these things. And I just, when I researched, it was like they said that they're being initiated. And I really like that. I like that concept. Like, for real, like I just got my card. Like I don't done anything, and yet like I just started to sleep weirdly, but I'm sleeping with my cards. And at one point, my sister was like, "That you sleep so early these days? What's going on?" It's like I have no idea. So after that initiation, which was like 3 days, I started to shuffle cards and pull cards, and there were a couple of tarot readers I was following at the time. I think two. I was pulling the same cards they would pull for the day. And I was like, oh, am I in tune? And I just like to learn and continue to learn. And at one point, I was like, that this is so natural to me. I must have done this in a past life. And I've been doing tarot reading, I would like to say, I'm not even sure, 9 years now. It's like a part of me. I just love, like when I look at my cards, there's just this affection. I love the signs, I love the symbology. I love how it really, really trains your intuition, because I use tarot reading for self-development more than fortune telling. I use it for self-development. I use it to motivate and to encourage people. People always say, oh, your readings are so positive. I genuinely, that's how I see life. I would say something negative will happen in your cards, but I'll turn it around to positive, because I always believe in transmutation and alchemy. So I read the way I see life. And I can't ever read for someone and say, this is a negative thing that's going to happen. I always, always show them how they can turn it to something positive, because that's how life is. So yeah, I got on this path through that in that way. And I must say, like, being Nigerian obviously is very taboo to be doing this kind of
That's my next
path,
question. Yeah.
right? It's taboo. But this is an art form that they don't get. And if we're talking about like traditional the culture on a traditional level, because I'm Yoruba, so Yoruba people have this like they have Ifa as a religion, as a traditional religion, and in Ifa they read cowries. The same way Igbo people would read, Igbo is another culture. They use beads. So they have these priests that we read beads. So I'm like, I'm reading cards. There's no difference. I mean, okay, there's a difference because it has its own like system, the cowrie system, but it's really cool. But there's no difference because we're reading something, and we're reading things to relay messages to our clients in order for them to better their life and to give them advice. I'm not different. I'm just using a different tool. So for me, even though people see it as taboo and witchy, honestly, I'm not going to lie to you, it excites me even more because I just feel like I'm part of this exclusive group. Like tarot is worth doing, and is worth having all those experiences that I had when I first started in Lagos, where people would call me a witch, people would say that, oh, you know, you're lying, it's an act. I just didn't care. I was like, you guys don't know what's going on, and that's fine. I'm here. I'm enjoying myself here. Meet me here if you're interested. And the ones that met me there really enjoyed themselves. You know what I'm saying? So there was good and bad. And so I've been able to deal with it because I believe in what I'm doing. I trust
Mhm.
what I'm doing. It helps me evolve my intuition. It's helped me gain credibility with people. I'm very spot on when I read. And I must tell you, it literally just comes from me. And I know that is a past life gift.
Mhm. Yeah, I was just going to ask because you explained it very well too. Like I explain religion where everybody's focused on, we're all at a table and we're eating food, but everybody's focused on, well, you're eating with a knife and fork, you're eating with spoon, you're eating with your hands, you're eating with chopsticks, and they want to criticize rather than we're eating food and what is the frequency of that food and how are we
Mm,
enjoying it? So, like you said, the mythology of that frequency and using this method to communicate the message that is needed, unless it looks a certain way, people are so close-minded that anything outside of that is evil, it's bad, it's so it just really shows how belief systems can keep our minds so closed off to not be innovative, to not really understand diversity. Everybody cries for diversity, yet not many people practice what diversity really means and that it's going to
yeah.
hit some of your belief systems.
Definitely. And, in life, I just believe more than ever that you have to be spiritually curious. You have to allow yourself to want to expand because I grew up Muslim and I was very much a good Muslim girl, 5 times daily, although I did drink and party, but there was a good balance because I thoroughly believe that, look, my heart is clean. I'm
Mhm.
praying, I'm doing this stuff, but I'm also a young girl. I've always had this thing about just with religion, I always had this thing of wanting to express myself freely while still respecting the institution. So as a Muslim, I did that. Pardon me. As a
It's okay.
Muslim, I did that. As a Muslim, I did that. And, but was still like talking about sex, was still like doing partying. Yes, that kind of thing. And from that journey, I had my spiritual awakening. And if I was so, restricted in my thinking, I would have been like, no, I don't want to engage in this. Like, I know Islam, I'm going to stay in Islam. But I allowed myself to like, I called it God opening a door for me, saying, you've done well here. Let me show you what's there. And I was like, okay, I'm interested. And I walked through that door, and this is where I ended up. And I have no regrets. But to other people, it's like, oh, I've regressed. Something happened, something stopped me from being this person. The devil came in. I don't believe in that.
Yeah, I love how really, you're really seated in the confidence of your wholeness and your worth and your trust. And a lot of people think that that comes easily. And as you said, I had to go through the naysayers and the ones calling me names to really let that armament of not trusting myself fall off and really just be seated in that sense of self and trusting within. Even if people don't understand, I don't need that outside validation. All the validation needs to be within myself. And those that will understand will, rally around me and always remind me that it's within myself and to trust myself. So really redefining, like you said, we're shaped in seeing the world in a certain way. Yet if we allow curiosity to be untethered, we're able to explore in such a different dynamic and such
So true.
profound in depths.
Yeah, definitely.
How do you take care of you? What does your self-care look like? And how do you, because holding space of being intuitive and listening to all the messages and holding space for people, that has its own energy overload. So, how do you take care of you and offload that energy and make sure that your vessel is fine-tuned and taken care of?
I rest. I allow myself to rest in all different forms because even for me, like doing my podcast is a form of rest. Anything that involves me expressing myself creatively or just resting, that's how I take care of me. Today, and I listen to myself. Like for a while, my body has been like, I need to journal. So I made time today to journal. And it's also told me I want to paint. And I haven't painted in months. And that's my way of expressing, but also being free because I'm not like the best painter. And so I listen, but most importantly, I rest. And I do a lot of like energy cleansing. I must tell you, when you asked the question, I was like, what do I really do? It's so natural now that I don't really look at it as, oh, this is self-care. I just ensure that I'm okay. But most especially, I'm resting. I never
Mhm.
feel like I'm carrying burdens anymore because I've passed that. My energetic boundaries are very good. But I do a lot of cleansing. I do a lot of resting. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. And it's when people are on the path, they understand that it becomes your way of being. that it's not like this check mark of I got to do this to be good. It's just, to listen to your body and listen to what it needs. So like you just said, the creativity needs to be filled. The body needs this or the body needs that. So being able to listen to that intuitively, a lot of people still go on this regimen of a checklist where it's like, well, what is your body saying? What does it actually need? And what does rest look like? Because a lot of people think rest is only one way, where it's many different ways that you can redefine what rest is.
Definitely. I definitely agree with that because I do podcasting a lot, but honestly, it's just some form of rest for me as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know many listeners are like, okay, so how can I get in contact with Viv and where do I find her details? Can you let the listeners know where they can find you and what your offerings are?
Sure. Okay. So my offerings are one-to-one tarot readings. You could have like a reading where I just send you a voice note and the recording and the picture, or we could have like a one-to-one video session in which we have like 30 minutes reading, maybe 15 minutes or an hour, depending on you. I have a price list. You can reach out to me on my Instagram, Perspective with Viv. That's the place where everything is for me to, and I'm most accessible there. I do have an email, madamsreadings@gmail.com, madam with an E at the end. So you could also email me there. I'm on TikTok, Perspective with Viv, YouTube, Perspective with Viv. Yes. So you can reach me any of those outlets and I'll answer and we can have a conversation. But I offer tarot readings, astrology readings when I'm in that space, but mostly tarot readings. Yes.
Okay. So all those links and all her information will be in the show notes, so she'll be easily clickable. Myself, I have a question because I'm in Canada. Do you do PayPal?
PayPal, my best friend
Okay.
level.
Yeah.
So it's all easy for everyone. Yeah.
Okay, great, great. So I'll make sure everything is in the show notes and that people are easily able to access you and access your gift. And as you heard in this reading, it was bang on. I can attest to it. I've had two with her already. And yeah, it's been spot on. And the intuition and even the language is very similar that we speak.
Mm.
So, if there was any time that, something spoke to you or you had tingles, reach out to Viv. She has a
Yes,
message
please.
for you. Yes, she has a message for you. So make sure to reach out to her and, as she said, send a question, send a message, create a connection, and you might be very pleasantly surprised what door might be opening for you. And like we just said in this collective reading, the tower may be splitting. So now you're supposed to venture into other places. So, Viv, I want to thank you for sharing yourself, sharing your gift, and just lighting up the world like you do. Even when some parts might feel lonely because people aren't around, that you are still honoring the gift and sharing that light and that intuition with everybody out in the world that's willing to share and connect with you. So thank you for being you, Viv.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your kind words and thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
And oh, yes, and please remember, listeners, she has her podcast. What's the title of it again?
Perspective with Viv.
So make sure you tune into her podcast. I'll be highlighting it when my episode comes out so that you can listen. She asks some very profound questions and she really brings in some great guests that would bring different modalities and really do that inner work and see that there's different avenues out there in the world. So again, thank you. And please remember to be kind to yourself.
Hey, you made it all the way here. I appreciate you and your time. If you found value in this conversation, please share it out. If there was somebody that popped into your mind, take action and share it out with them. It possibly may not be them that will benefit, it's that they know somebody that will benefit from listening to this conversation. So please take action and share out the podcast. You can find us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok under LiftOneSelf. And if you want to inquire about the work that I do and the services that I provide to people, come over on my website, come into a discovery call, LiftOneSelf.com. Until next time, please remember to be kind and gentle with yourself. You matter.